What's up? This is Kara Witt, and you are tuned into the Crimson Watch, where we watch the Tide roll. Well, the Tide did not roll yesterday for the final rankings of the college football playoff, and Alabama was out. And if you thought you was going to come to this channel and see me be upset, you are absolutely wrong. Those that actually watch college football knew that Alabama probably was not going to be in the playoffs. Now, it was fun trolling y'all last week when they did have us at number 11 because y'all were just spiraling and so upset, and you wet the bed because the Alabama Crimson Tide was in the playoff. But I knew that the way that they had it set up, everybody was talking about the strength of schedule. But the thing is, the committee had already told us what they thought about the strength of schedule by putting Boise State, Arizona State, SMU, Indiana. By putting those teams in, that told me that they did not value strength of schedule. And the whole thing of putting SMU in over Alabama because they didn't want to devalue conference championship means, because you had Tennessee who didn't go, Alabama who didn't go, and was still sitting at a spot at number 11, and you had Texas and Georgia playing in the conference championship, and it didn't even matter that they lost. Penn State and Oregon, it didn't even matter who lost the game. They still were in the playoffs. So conference championships have already been devalued. So let's not try to let's not sit here and try to say, oh, well, the conference championships matter, because they don't. Regular season games don't matter. So the whole college football landscape has been devalued because the biggest thing in the college football playoff right now is about representation. It is not about the 12 best teams, because if it was about the 12 best teams, you wouldn't be doing auto bids. There is no reason for Arizona State to get a bye. There is no reason for a Boise or Clemson. None of these teams should be getting a bye. None of them. Clemson, how is Clemson, who beat SMU, still ranked below SMU? That makes no sense. Just rank the 12 best teams and duke it out. Stop the seeding. Whoever you feel is the first best team to the 12th best team. Let it be that way. A number 16 team should not be able to get into the playoffs simply because they won that conference championship. I think that's dumb, but it is what it is. This is the playoff picture that we have, and honestly, I respect it. I don't believe that Alabama deserved it. I mean, it was fun last week. I had a great time on Twitter watching y'all cry and get so mad that Alabama was in. But you know, we all knew that Alabama was only in for now, which is what I said in my last video. I didn't know if we were going to stay in. I was hoping that we would. I believe if SMU would have won, we would have been in the playoffs, but they did not. And the game ended up just like JB said. If you watch Sports Talking with JB, you would have seen that JB said the exact thing was going to happen.
Don't y'all think the call done been made? They didn't hit Dabo up. They didn't hit whoever SMU coach. Hey, y'all, I want a good, clean fight. Let's make this thing close. Let's give them all they want to see. We on display. Let's go out there. Let's make it 34-31. Clemson, you got to get the win. We going to the table. We going to have the argument. We getting in. Both teams getting in. You don't want, if you the ACC, you do not want Clemson to beat them 45-7. You do not want Clemson to blow out SMU, because that's going to look bad on your conference. You only going to have one team in there. Now, if SMU wins straight up, we in 100%. 100%. But I think the fix is in. I believe Clemson's going to win the game. I don't know exactly.
It did. He was right. So, JB, you Nostradamus. So, blame JB, y'all, that we didn't get into the playoffs. He's the one that called it and predicted it. So, it's his fault. Yeah, but make sure y'all go follow him and watch his channel. But, yeah, it happened. And that's what it is. Bama fans were not upset. At least I'm not upset. I don't know any of my counterparts any of the Bama fans that I know, none of us are upset, because it's expected. I mean, guys, we lost 3 games and we got blown out by Oklahoma, and we lost to Vandy in Vandy, and we lost to Tennessee. Like, Tennessee is forgivable. Vandy was even forgivable because it was in the beginning of the season, but losing to Oklahoma, that's what ultimately kicked us out of the playoff. Clemson didn't do it. SMU didn't do it. Losing to Oklahoma is what lost us our playoff spot, and the team knew that. They knew what was at stake. They knew that we had to go in there and beat Oklahoma, then beat Auburn in order to get into the playoff. And they dropped the ball, and it is what it is. And honestly, I'm glad that this team in particular did not make the playoffs, because I don't feel like you should give them a cookie for playing so poorly all year, especially Jalen Miro. And we're gonna get to him a little later, because I know y'all don't like talking about it, but we're gonna have to talk about it. But yeah, I didn't want to give this team a cookie or just hand them a playoff spot. And considering how bad they played all year, yeah, we had a pretty good resume. Yeah, we beat Georgia. Yeah, we beat LSU. We beat South Carolina. Yeah, great. But losing to Vandy, Oklahoma, that was disgusting. It made me want to throw up, because that is not the standard. Those are not things that we do. So no, I did not want to see this team in the playoffs just to get knocked out in the first round, because then they would be even more entitled than they already are. They just think they're supposed to get it simply because they wear that script A, and that's not how it goes. You got to work for it. So hopefully now, seeing that they did leave you out, Coach DeBoer, Womack, Sheridan, maybe you will understand that you got to play to your full potential every single game. Stop taking these teams lightly. This is the SEC. UC Texas came into the SEC and damn near won the SEC, okay, with that easy ass schedule that they had. But the only reason that Georgia was in the SEC because Alabama lost. If you did not lose the game to Oklahoma, we would have been in the SEC championship and we would have been in the playoffs. But you gave Georgia a free walk to the playoffs and damn near a free walk to the national championship, because their path is absolutely clear. Notre Dame's path, clear. Penn State path, clear. All of these teams got clear paths to the semifinals, and I don't know who's going to win in the end, but I know Alabama ain't going to be there, and that's because of the coaching staff not preparing them the way that they needed to be prepared. And you made your bed, now you got to lie in it. So take this as a lesson learned. Make sure that next season you prepare the team for every single game. You play your game like it's your last, because you know that dropping games to people you should not drop them to can cost you your spot in the playoffs. But before the rankings even came out, now there was a leak that SMU was going to be in over Bama, so it took the suspense out of it. But prior to that, there were so many think pieces and tweets about Alabama shouldn't be in, Alabama better not get in, or it's rigged, it's a travesty. I even saw Georgia fans who are firmly in the playoffs crying, scared to death, shaking in their little paw boots that Alabama might possibly get into the playoffs. I don't know what kind of pathetic, weak shit that is, but y'all need to fix that. Maybe you can focus on your own team now that Alabama is not in. And that goes for everybody, including Auburn fans who were laughing that Alabama didn't get into the playoffs. But Auburn, you don't even have a bowl game. Make that make sense. But the rest of y'all were so scared and were up in arms that Alabama might get in. So if Alabama is so awful, if we don't deserve it, if we cannot compete, then why were y'all afraid? Why were y'all afraid? You think Notre Dame want to play SMU or they want to play Bama? I guarantee you they'll pick SMU. Y'all were afraid because you know on Alabama's best day, they can beat any team in that playoff right now. And you know it. And has the possibility to win it because it's Alabama. That's why you were afraid. But anyway, it doesn't matter now because we didn't get in, so you got your wish. You got some very boring games. Nobody wants to see Notre Dame and SMU. Nobody wants to see Indiana and Penn State. Cakewalk games, boring. I'm going to be very surprised to see what the ratings are going to be for these quarterfinal games. I think the best quarterfinal game is probably going to be Tennessee and Ohio State. That's probably going to be the best one. These semis, boring. I don't want to see it. But quarterfinals, very boring. So we'll see. The format needs to be fixed. It's absolutely terrible. Having 12 teams was a mistake. It was a mistake. It's absolutely ridiculous that we have a group of 5 team competing for a national championship. SMU competing for a national championship when they hardly even competed, when they struggled to compete against a 3-loss Clemson, is absolutely asinine. The SEC has Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, all of these teams with very tough strength of schedules. And then you got 3 juggernauts that's sitting on the outside, Ole Miss, Alabama, and South Carolina. These teams should have been in the top 12. All 3 of them, quite frankly, especially Ole Miss. Boise State, Arizona State, Indiana should not be in the top 12. It was a mistake even having this. I understand they're going to move it to 16, but then that's even going to make room for teams that are worse than Indiana and Boise State and SMU. So the adding all of these teams is just going to make for more boring college football and more group of five and more mediocre teams to get a shot at the national championship. Again, like I said, it's about representation. They just wanted more teams to be represented in the playoffs to make it seem like they're going to be competitive. But in the end, it's going to be the brand name schools. It's going to be the top two schools from either the SEC or the Big Ten in the Final Four, in the Final Two, in the national championship. And nothing is going to change. These teams are going to get blown. These mediocre teams are going to get blown out because you don't play each other all year. You're going to get blown out. So I hope you enjoy this playoff because the ratings are going to be bad. The committee's reasoning to put SMU in. Again, let me say, I don't believe Alabama should have gone to the playoffs, but I do believe we are better than SMU. The committee's reasoning to put SMU in was because they lost a close game in the second half against a 3-loss Clemson. Are we looking at the overall body of work? I mean, just like Nick Saban said, they shouldn't be penalized for losing the conference championship, but they should have been penalized for their strength of schedule. They should have never been ranked 8th. If you wanted to put them in, you should have put them at 12. They never should have been 8. That was entirely too high for them. They are not the 8th best team in the nation. At best, 12. And that's what should have been reflected. Because if they were put at 12 and they lost a conference championship, they would have been knocked down and Alabama would have been put in. But here we are. It is what it is, guys. You know, we didn't make the playoffs. Some fans are mad. I mean, I'm not upset. I expected it. It is what it is. We're going to have next season to improve. The future looks bright. We got the number 2 recruiting class coming in. I'm really excited about that. We got Keelan Russell coming in. Great quarterback. I don't know who's going to start, but we shall see. I tell you who I hope does not come back to start, and that's Jalen Milroe. I don't care what you fans say about Jalen Milroe. It's not his fault. Jalen Milroe is the reason we only scored 3 points in Norman. 3. That was the offense. Defense didn't score them points. Didn't score 3 points. Offense did. Jalen Milroe is the reason we did not go to the playoffs. He is the reason we did not win a national championship last year. He is the reason we didn't win the national championship this year. And I want y'all to be real with yourself, because if you don't believe Jalen Milroe contributed to this team not making the playoffs, I believe that you still believe in Santa Claus, because I'm not finna be delusional and say that. Has he helped us win games? Yes. Yes, he has helped us win games. We have won games in spite of him and because of him. Like I have said numerous times, I wanted to see Jalen be great. I wanted him to bring a national championship back because of the things that people were saying about him. I believed in him. He is a great guy, a great athlete. He is going to go very far in his career. However, his time at Alabama has come to an end. He is not the quarterback that is going to lead Alabama to where they need to go. He is not great in this offense. He needs to go somewhere else and get trained one-on-one with somebody that can coach quarterbacks with his skill set. And that's it. He needs to sit behind somebody in the NFL and learn. Right now, he's done at Alabama. I don't want him to come back at all. I want a new quarterback that can distribute that ball, which is why we got wide receivers jumping in the transfer portal, which is why we got K-Law, Odom, all these great, and trust me, it's going to be some more. The transfer portal is going to make our head spin because they cannot get the ball because we don't have a competent enough quarterback who can read defenses and who understands that quarterback position. Sorry, not sorry. Jalen Milroe, thank you for your services, but you can either enter the transfer portal or you can go to the NFL draft. Either way, we will have the red carpet laid out for you and have your bags ready and packed so you can get on the plane and go where you need to go. But thank you for all that you have done for the University of Alabama, but it's time to move on. The future at the University of Alabama is bright. I am looking forward to 2025 season. I believe our bowl game is against Michigan. Don't really care about it. Okay, Milroe, he might not play. Ty Simpson might play. Who knows? We don't know. Don't really care about that game. Don't care about it. They didn't win nothing this year. We ain't win nothing this year. It's not like we trying to get our lit back. It ain't the championship game, so who cares? Okay. I'm going to watch it because I'm an Alabama fan and I hope we win. I would like to get that 10th win for this season because that would be great. But other than that, I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to any of these bowl games, quite frankly. If they had us playing Colorado, then I probably would tune in. But other than that, I'm straight on that. But other than that, y'all, it was a good season. We got 9 wins with a first-year coach. Who expected that for them to even be contenders in the playoff? So the fact that we got that far is amazing with a first-year coach. Next year, there's no excuses, DeBoer. This is going to be your team. These are going to be your recruits, your staff. This is your show now. Now you know this season you had Nick Saban's recruits and you were trying to keep the team together. Now it's your show. We're going to see what you can do. They say you can coach teams up, and we're going to see. We're going to see, Coach. So I'm going to give you some grace. I'm even going to give the OC some grace because you didn't have a quarterback that can do what you needed him to do. I saw what Coach DeBoer did with Penix, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do with the next quarterback that's going to lead the Crimson Tide into the future. Other than that, y'all, it was good this season, not so good this season, and mid this season. Either way, we still going to roll. And I'll see y'all next time, and I'll see y'all back here after the bowl game. Roll Tide, y'all.